All right. How's everybody doing, guys? Let's do an audio, visual, sound check. How's everybody tonight? It's a good night tonight. Good evening, everybody. Rips is in the chat. Paw trade awful. Sounds great. Awesome. Everything is going smooth. Good. So it's going to be a normal night. While I'm going at it, I'm going to go ahead and get into a short gold. We're jumping in this. These are my combines that I've been trading. You can see over here on the top left-hand side my 5 combines, and I hit my max profit for them. But as I was talking and as I clicked stream, we did start to break it down. So here is gold. This is the gold trade that we've been looking at almost every single night on slow markets. Looking for a break in either direction at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can see we are at these highs. We have some resistance around this 2372, 2372, and then again throughout this evening. So as I was chatting, you go over here into, say, a 1-minute chart, we started to break down a little bit. And this trade is a breakout trade. Whenever we break support or resistance, we want to be getting into the direction of the trend, or the break anyway. So we broke down. I got in at 71.2, as you guys could see. A little bit. I mean, that's as good as it gets, I think. I could have maybe have an argument to get in at 71.5 when we broke these little support here on the 1-minute chart. But anyway, as we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get a few things set up on my end. Let me make sure I have a stop loss in place while I get a few things set up on my end. So bear with me. Give me just one moment. There we go. So anyway, welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. There is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything that we go over tonight and during slow markets is for educational purposes only. This is not a signals class. I always try and make that very straightforward. It's not a signals class. It's for education. And we're talking about trading concepts. And what we've been going for on this gold trade is trying to understand a breakout trade and how do we trade it? How do we manage it? Hopefully be able to do a live demonstration on how to find a trade, find some type of volatility in the market, especially during slow markets, this Asian session right here at 8 p.m. Central, and see if there's a trade. So far, so good. I have no complaints on gold. We've had this gold trade for what? Maybe has it been over 3 weeks? I'm not sure. We'll see. Last night it worked out pretty well. I've had some really good gold trades the past month, and maybe this is going to be a winner or loser. I'm not sure. I'm risking for my stop loss. I like to be at the previous pivot. So we did our analysis on the higher time frame. So this 5-minute time frame, it's pretty obvious and straightforward how there's a lot of resistance in the 70s. And if we see a spike in volatility, there can be a decent chance we could break back down into these 60s. So I like to have my stop loss above the previous support or resistance, which I see here is as 73.3. And then if we do start to sell off, then there's a possibility to see, of course, 2370 even. That could be a first take profit. A second one could, maybe 68s, somewhere in the 68s. I'm not sure. My take profit's not as clear on a 5-minute chart. Dare I say we come down to 65? Like, would that be something that's unreasonable? Is looking for 2365? I'm not sure. I'm only in one contract, so this is very small of a position size. One contract times 4, or times 5. So technically, I'm in 5 contracts because this is doing that copy trade thing. Here we go. Ain't this something? I just love trading. Don't we just love trading? It's just amazing how this works. Yeah, if gold just sells off, it's consistency, right? It really is consistency. But as we're talking through this gold trade, if you guys do have any questions, type them in the chat, and I'm going to try and get to a lot of your guys' questions tonight. It's a regular slow markets, no guests, nothing crazy going on, just a good old-fashioned slow markets. Old-fashioned as we started this, a few months ago, but nice, calm, relaxed. A little bit informal where we have a trade, we could talk about the markets, we could answer some questions, and we could just go over everything. So far, so good. And then always as we're in this trade, the question that I always go and I think about is, where would I put my stop loss, right? And I'm sure you guys go through the same thing, is when do I move my stop loss? Do I move my stop loss to break even? When would I move my stop loss to break even if the market starts to go in my direction? So I do see a nice, support right here around 2369.8, 2360, pretty much 2370, I would say. And if we do start to break down below that, then that could be a good sign, or it is a good sign, that the market could continue downwards. And I actually might be comfortable moving my stop loss a little bit sooner rather than later. It just turned 8 p.m., so it's now 8:01 p.m. Central, and this is when we usually see that little spike in volatility. Yeah, so as we watch this, let me get to some questions, and then we'll do our regular rapid fire. And then if you guys missed it or you don't know what it is, rapid fire is where I go through NASDAQ, crude oil, maybe some Nikkei, and then gold and ES, and just talk about it, analyze it, and talk about any trades. Because I'm a slow markets trader. I like to trade the overnight session where I place trades, I let them run, and we're going to really get back to the original, looking for trades overnight, looking for setups, buy stops, buy limits, sell stops, sell limits, and that kind of fun stuff. Trying to get right back into the normal things. Anyway, this could be very slow because typically we've seen a little bit better of a break at this 8 p.m. Central. It hasn't been as great as it used to be. No fire drill tonight, guys. Anyway, let's get to some questions now while we wait for this gold trade. And I'm going to answer these questions, and we'll start going over NASDAQ. Let's do that because this trade, and usually what I've been doing is I'll place this trade. If it sets up, great, and then I'll move on to our regular slow markets. So I'm going to answer a couple questions. Then we will take a look at the NASDAQ. So anyway, hey coach, have you tried silver? I have. Silver's like $25 a tick, and it's more volatile than gold. So I kind of stay away from silver. I've just had personal bad experiences with it. Heard there will be a fire drill this week. Will it be available for slow markets? No fire drill tonight, but stay tuned because later this week there will be one. I don't have the exact date. I don't have the exact time, but later this week there would be a fire drill for everybody who loves that and everybody who is going to do that. Maybe I've today's Tuesday, so maybe tomorrow, right? And you guys know I'm always working with Danielle to try and push the stuff for slow markets. So my only hint would be join me for slow markets tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, that being said, let's get to some more questions. How would you define the edge? I'm not sure what you mean by the edge, Kat. If you want to re-ask that in a different way, then yes. One more question, and we'll go over to the NASDAQ because gold is slowly and it's going slow. What is your advice on building a buffer in your XFA before taking a payout? I want to take a payout, but the $0 worries me. Ooh, this is a good question, Brian. And I think it deserves a whole episode in itself. I think I might cover this maybe Thursday. I want to talk in depth about this because taking payouts, it's something that I've struggled with this past month, where I've wondered to myself, have I taken too much out too fast that I didn't leave myself enough room to have a drawdown based off my trading size? That is a question that I am currently have been thinking of. I have a pretty good idea when it comes to the XFAs, but I've struggled with it a little bit in my live account, because my live account, I grew it to $250,000 in like 3 months, right? And then I withdrew 134,000. Then I withdrew like 29,000. Then I withdrew like 18,000, and then I got into a drawdown, and now it's just feels like, oh man, I don't have much left to trade with, because my drawdowns are a lot bigger than what the account balance was left. So that's always a question. Typically, it should be a percentage. I would prefer and say a percentage, just depending on how you're trading and your personal style and what your needs are, right? Because that's the ultimate goal, is to trade, get into an XFA, take a payout, and then get into a live account. So yeah, let me ponder that question, because I feel like I need to get a really good answer. And the great thing about having access to our coaches in Discord is that we could get good answers to questions like that. But anyway, let's go. Let's continue. If you guys will please keep an eye out on gold. If you guys could keep an eye on gold for me. I have my stop loss in. I have my take profit in. But let's move over to NASDAQ. Okay. So don't forget this. Let's keep an eye on gold. If you guys could keep an eye on gold for me, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. And I put that in there wrong. Now remember, I still have some kinks to work out on this platform. I'm not great at it. So, anyway, here's the NASDAQ. This is an hourly, and I like to start on the daily chart on the NASDAQ. So, here we go. This is an interesting candle, guys. Today was an interesting day. So, I don't know how to draw, and I'm not great at drawing this stuff yet, but let's try this. Okay, so we see here, oh, that's not how we do it. So I need some practice. So anyway, you see here, that's just hideous. Okay, I'm gonna get, I need practice with drawing, but you see here on the 18th, 19th of June, we had some consolidation, and we had some indecisive candles on the daily. Then we sold off, and this was a nice pullback. Then we started to consolidate, and we rallied. We're getting that. Oh, okay, well, come on, guys. Gold already moving. I don't have time to go over this NASDAQ. It's not moving that fast, is it? Come on. Well, it kind of is, huh? It's not dumping. Dumping, that's a little move. Okay, dumping is if we start to break this. So I'm gonna go back to NASDAQ. Let me know when it gets close to my take profit or stop loss. There we go. If it moves a lot more than a few ticks. So let's get back to what I was talking about. So over here on the daily, maybe I should just have a second chart up. So we have an indecisive candle. We had an indecisive candle today here on the daily chart, and that's showing that there is a sign finally a sign of consolidation, exhaustion, maybe a pullback to come. We're not sure. We don't know. We've seen that here back on June 14th where we had consolidation for a day and maybe a day and a half, and then we started to rally. Then we got this pullback. We've seen the same thing on the 4th of July, right? It was a holiday, but it was, I don't really count it because it was a holiday, but we've seen that today. So I like seeing something like this because that just makes me go into tomorrow, the next day, thinking, you know, the odds of us breaking up and rallying are a lot less likely. I like to play for a consolidation. I like to play for maybe a pullback. So I am going into tonight and going into tomorrow as a consolidation day. I'm looking at tonight into tomorrow as consolidating, maybe a pullback. I'm not expecting a big green day tomorrow. So that is what I'm going into. I went into it kind of today. Today worked out really well on the short, and you can come back and we can go back in time and find when we see that consolidation candle or indecisive candle, usually there's a few more that come behind it, or we get some type of a pullback, right? So it doesn't mean anything can happen. We could just have this thing blow the top off and we see 21,000. However, I'm just talking about probabilities. We do have news on Thursday and tomorrow's Wednesday, so that could also be a factor. But that's what I'm expecting going into tomorrow, consolidation, nothing too crazy. The next thing I like to do is jump onto an hourly chart, and you guys could kind of see that. We've been stair-stepping like I was talking about earlier, and you know, rally, stair-step, rally, stair-step. Today we finally had that pullback. It was actually kind of weird how I didn't really call it. I never like saying I called it. But we did get that pullback down to these 620s, 630s, back to where we were at yesterday, down into this consolidation. I'm happy to see that. I like to see it because it's very healthy in this market rather than just going up and up and up. It gives us that market structure that we can see in terms of, you know, having some more support and resistance areas, support and resistance zones that we could start to look at. And I think this is going to be one of them. Look at this. Right here at the 20,710s, just about where we're at right now. That was support, right? This was support on the 8th, and it was support today as well. If I could learn how to do this drawing tool a lot better, you guys could see that, I mean, pretty clearly right here in this zone around 710 to 715. So this was good support. So now the question is, do we have this support turn into resistance again? Is there a chance that we get another pullback or more consolidation back down into these 600s? So I'm going to say that's what I'm looking for. Very much to the other night where I accidentally closed out the trade. If we start to zoom in to a 5-minute chart, that is what I'm looking at tonight. We had this nice sell-off during the day, and very similar to last night, we did close. We closed all the way right here at 673, and after the close, we've been going up and up and up. We reopened again right at 680s. So we reopened at 680s tonight. Since we reopened, we're up 20, about 20 points. So I would not be opposed to looking for a move very similar to last night back down to the 680s. So last night, it was the same thing. If you guys can remember where we were at, this is where we were. I was looking to get into the short around 740s. We did sell off. after I finished my stream. We went right back up here, and I ended up getting into that short again that I accidentally closed out. I got into a little bit bigger of a position, and sure enough, it did work out. I didn't go for this whole thing. I was actually only looking for a back to these lows, and it did trigger me in right as I was waking up early this morning. So here we are again, a very similar situation, and I think I'm just going to just do it. I like this. Let's see if there we go. So I'm going to just go ahead and practice what I preach. I'm going to look for a play something similar to this tonight. And this is a trade that I am perfectly fine going to bed. I would go to bed with this trade on. Very much like one last night. I could see immediately. Let me see if I could. I need to get used to these drawing tools. Is this it? No. Give me just a second. I'll get these drawing tools. I'll get this drawing stuff figured out here sooner or later. Anyway, but there was a pivot right here this morning around 7:15. So I'm using this pivot as an area of resistance, support and resistance. So if we do start to sell off, maybe we consolidate here and then head down. I'm not sure. Maybe I could have an opportunity to get into a second. So maybe something like this, right? So where if I do get in, it'll trigger me into 2 contracts. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to be looking to get into short the NASDAQ and looking for more of that consolidation tonight. But that's my analysis on the NASDAQ. Consolidation until we get some news, and we get that news. Looks like gold is starting to move again. And yep, it looks like we did have a little stop run. We didn't even break down to run that stop. Okay, here's a question, guys. This is something. Here is a interesting question that maybe a lot of us find ourselves in. Do we just close out now, or do we let the trade just stop us out? If we close out now, we save $50. If we just let it stop us out, we have the probability of it just consolidating, going back down. Or it just we risk that $50. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I've heard both. Stopped out. 50 is 50. I mean, the odds of it. Oh, there you go. Well, that was $50. So the choice there was to just close it out, right? Add. No. I like to just let it stop me out, even though I might think to myself, oh, you know what? We have a chance of it turning around. I really do like my trades to play out. So that way, when I'm looking at my risk management and I'm looking at these amazing statistics over here, it will show me, oh, did it already add that? Yeah, there we go. It already added. Wow, that was really fast. So it already added to my statistics, minus 243 on that trade. So and that's where it's hard. This is the gray area of trading. And I'm sure you guys run through this a lot. I've thought about it a lot. Do we just close that trade and save the $50? Or do we let the trade play out where we know there is a percentage of a time, not a high percentage, a very small percentage of the time that it would turn around and go back, right? And we have to evaluate that as a trader. And how we do that is it's really up to you as an individual trader. All I would recommend is whatever you do and whatever you decide, be consistent at it. Like you really just need to be consistent. Whether you have some type of a rule base that says move your stop loss to break even, close your trade out before it hits your stop loss. Whatever your rule is, just be consistent. So that way when you are looking at your statistics here, you know it's a true statistics, right? It's consistent. There's not a lot of just guessing and having human like interaction and feeling and intuition into this. Man, I'm never going to be able to say enough about this statistics. Your largest win was 297 and your largest loss was 2. Aim to keep your losses largest. Right. That's so cool. It's going to be cool to see how this plays out. It really is. Yeah, or maybe there was a saying was I should have just closed it out at my first target, right? Because the first target was 69.70. That's okay. But back to NASDAQ. NASDAQ, I'm good for this one. Good to go. Risking 195 to make 260. I most likely I would like to get into another one. I would love to add to this position. Yeah, I want to add to this. If we get a nice bounce, I'm going to watch this during class. I want to get into 3 contracts here on the NASDAQ, looking to short it as we get to this resistance zone around 750, like basically from 717 down to where we're at here. I want to add. I want to get into 3 contracts if it will let me. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go and take a look at crude oil. Crude oil. I haven't traded this. I've been a little bit out of focus for crude oil. Man, it's been a while since we talked about crude, right? It really has been a while. This was quite the run off of $73 a barrel. This is an hourly chart on crude oil. And ever since we hit $73 a barrel, we've rallied all the way up to 74, basically 74 and a half, which is kind of in line with some of what I was looking for. I was looking for this 74, this lower 74 area as a target. I don't know if you guys remember that because it feels like it was so long ago. This $84 a barrel, just over $84 a barrel target is something I was looking at. Well, we rallied up. We hit it. We've had a double top. This is a double top, and it looks like it was a confirmed double top. If I can get these drawings straight squared away. So you can see double top, very simple, very straightforward. Where we had the double top, we broke below, and now we're right back down to $81 a barrel. And there was a cool one. Bam, there we go. So I'm getting used to Topstep X. The question is, what do we do? Right? How do we trade crude oil? What are we looking for? And where are the opportunities in crude tonight? This is an hourly chart. We've started to sell off from $84 a barrel. We're technically still bullish. We're in a bullish market, still in crude. I wouldn't be surprised if we come down and see $81 a barrel, because if we look over here on the left, and in April, there was a lot of support and resistance right here. And so as we come down to $81 a barrel, we can very well see the same thing happening, right? Where we could come down into this support and resistance zone, and then we could start to see the market bounce and rally from there. So that's what I'm looking at crude oil. This is an hourly chart, so it's not something where I'm taking a lot of quick scalps, but it's something that we do need to, like something I am going to be watching. It's going to be something that I will be following, and I am going to be figuring out some of these drawing tools that's becoming very frustrating. Let's see. There you go, rectangle. I'm going to definitely add that there. So here we go. There's the zone. There we go. That's the zone I'm talking about. I'm getting used to this. And if we could continue that over here, we're kind of getting into that zone that I would consider looking for longs on crude oil. And so if that's the case, and if I'm considering to get long on crude oil, the question will be, how do we look for longs? What are we going to be considering? How are we going to be getting into this trade? And what would be our targets? So we do know crude loves to run stops. Crude loves to stop loss hunt. it loves to run for liquidity. Here's a good example where we have a low, and then we have a nice run for the stops, and then we rally. And it's something I've noticed time and time again. Crude loves to do this, where it runs for stops, and we have a nice lower low, and then we start to rally. So there's that. That's a really nice example where we just push lower and then we rally. So run stops, liquidity, whatever you want to call this. This is a pattern that I've looked for on crude oil fairly often, and it's been very good for me. I mean, here's another example, right? There's a nice little run for a stop from this support and resistance here, right around $81 a barrel. So that's what I'm going to look for this week for crude oil, maybe tonight, where if we do have a nice push lower down towards $81 a barrel, this could be an area to be getting in long. So I'm definitely going to be looking for an area. The question is, I don't know if I should go too far in depth tonight, but one way I like to take advantage of that is maybe we just put a buy limit, right? A buy limit. There we go. So a buy limit here, then I would be able to set my stop loss, my take profit, all that fun stuff. If you guys remember when I had Coach Robert on here to show you how to do brackets. But very much, I have done this before. I set a buy limit right below lows. I set my stop loss. I put a take profit, and then I let that trade run overnight. I still need to get used to this platform, so just bear with me, guys. I'm continuing to get used to it. It's, things are going to get a lot smoother as we go, and I'll be able to do these examples a lot quicker. So yeah, I think I'm just going to look for longs on crude oil. I don't think I am ready to short crude yet, just because we're still in a bullish market. I mean, you could argue that that was a break of the trend, and we're in an intermediate bear market, right? We're in an intermediate downtrend for the past, 3-4 days, but I still think crude oil's bullish because of the last month. The more dominant trade is to the long side. Next, I think that's it, guys. Let's take a look at gold. I'll talk about Nikkei. I've struggled with Nikkei a bit. Gold, we're bouncing. Now, here's actually something. So this is something I didn't talk about this earlier on gold, because I was looking for gold to possibly sell off and come back down towards these 60s. However, if we do not, the exact opposite could be true, is we rally and we go back up towards the 80s, and we have another leg higher. So this could very well be something that gold is currently doing, because even though I was looking for a short-term trade, if we look at this current trend in gold, it's bullish, right? Where we're looking for this, kind of what we're talking about. NASDAQ, we rallied, we kind of consolidated, went to the right, and we did the same thing. So this is something that we're looking at, or at least I'm looking at, or what I was referring to, is this could very well be a great setup for a long gold. For the small time on that trade that I was just talking about, the most immediate was if we do sell off, we could start seeing, maybe this low. But in a more longer term perspective, over the next, few days, or even, who knows, because gold moves, maybe even tomorrow, we can very well see gold rally back up to these 80s, or even higher, right? So the trend on gold is bullish, and we can very well see a nice run higher, because we haven't broke this trend line. And I'm doing this one by one, and it's irritating, but right, we had a higher low, or from a low to a higher low, and then we had a higher high, and now is this a higher low? This could very well be a higher low, and we can start pushing back up and towards the 2380s. So that's very realistic. I don't know if we'll see it tonight because this is a nice resistance zone, but it's a possibility, right? This is a resistance. There's a lot of resistance here in gold. I need to get used to that. That's bugging the heck out of me. I need to get used to all these tools. Circle, circle. Oh, I think that's probably going to be the golden ticket right there. I'll get used to it. So far, so good. And then last but not least, the ugly stepchild of the markets, for me anyway, is Nikkei. I haven't talked a lot about Nikkei, guys. I should be talking about it a lot more. It was very good to me for a while, but I haven't talked about it for a while. Man, let's take a look from a longer term perspective. Take a look at this. We are starting to. This is one heck of a rally. We're at 41,760. We had that huge rally yesterday, and the Nikkei is good when it comes to technical analysis. I haven't talked about it a lot because I've had so much going on, and I'm going to continue to have a lot going on because there's some amazing stuff happening here at Topstep that I am going to be a little bit more involved with, and I'm excited to be more involved with. But take a look how beautiful of a pattern this is, where we're getting this this beautiful pattern where we break out and we pull back and then we just rally. Like, this is a very beautiful pattern. I know I used to talk about trading a lot. I used to talk about trading Nikkei a lot, and I haven't talked about it very often. But yes, Nikkei is starting to become a much better market now than what it used to be. For a good month there, it was very rough and ugly to trade. As you could see, the difference between the way the Nikkei was, and I'll show you. This is an ugly market. This is a very hard market to trade. You can see at the end of May and for most of June, that's a hard market to trade. Like, consolidate, I don't know. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was very choppy. For me anyway, it was hard to trade. And now that we're starting to break out and we're starting to get that volatility back into Nikkei, you could see it's a lot easier to trade. This is the beauty about the futures. You have a lot more than just one market to trade, and technicals are relatively nice in Nikkei. I mean, here's another example, right? Where, I think that's it. So here's the breakout, right? Same thing. Breakout, pullback, continuation. Oh, come on. Whatever. So, and we're starting to get a lot easier or more suitable environment on the Nikkei, and maybe we're running into that same situation right here, right now. It looks like tonight we've had a nice rally. These are big moves for the Nikkei. Just tonight, let's see. Yeah, just tonight, that is quite the move. It's another big market like silver. It's $25 a tick. I don't recommend it for newer traders, but yeah, maybe I start talking about the Nikkei more. Maybe I start monitoring it and watching it and look for trades on the Nikkei going forward. If we continue to see this volatility and the patterns play, like, look at this. This is a range, and if we were to play this range, it is pretty simple and straightforward, right? Sell these highs, buy the lows, and you'll be able to make a nice, $500 each way. So. And then play the breakout. The breakout trade's nice. Technical patterns are nice. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about Nikkei. We'll see. I'll talk about it more. It's relatively new to a lot of traders, and I definitely do not recommend it to new traders. It's something to watch. It's something that you can keep an eye on, especially if you're in the Asian session. If you don't have time to the New York session, the Nikkei can definitely be that market for you. because it can be volatile. Could be volatile at this time, and you can see it's very thin. It's very thin. This is a 1 minute chart, and it's very thin. I don't want to go in depth about thin order books and all that fun stuff, because that's a rabbit hole I'm going to leave for another time on why the charts don't look as pretty. It's very thin, so there's not as much liquidity, and the charts are not pretty at all. It's not. But let's go back to my NASDAQ trade. I wanted to get into another. I wanted to get into 3 contracts. It didn't give me that opportunity. Would have, could have, should have. We'll see. We'll see how it goes here. There is something where maybe I just go like this and say, all right, there we go. I have a nice, 5-to-1 risk reward, 4-to-1 risk reward on this, and let this trade play out. Maybe I do something like that, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, let this trade play out with this stop loss and take profit. Or I look for this. It depends. It depends on what I'm wanting to do, how I'm viewing this market. I think the play was to get into a position there, because that was a really nice move. And if we start to break, then yeah, this setup like that, having a nice good 3-to-1, 4-to-1 is a lot better than waiting and then trying to get in as we start to break out. Let's get to some more questions. Tonight's actually going pretty smooth, guys. I've really enjoyed. I am planning to get Coach Jay. He's going to join me tomorrow. Gabe is going to be joining me Thursday. We have some amazing stuff going on. I'm in conversations with the team on how do we improve slow markets, how do we get a guest on, how do we get some good questions, how can we continue to up our game. I'm looking to get my Series 3 scheduled to go take the test on the Series 3. That's going to be fun. So that way I could say, welcome to slow markets. I licensed Series 3. That's always fun. But let's get to some of these questions. Robbie Brooks, would you take a 3-bar reversal on a 100-tick chart? My answer is yes, Robbie. 3-bar reversal to me can be used on any time frame and even on tick charts. Dakota, do you always use limit orders or do you use market orders? I would say most of my trades are limit orders. Very rarely will I use market orders. To me, I'd like to get in and out of trades using limit orders because I know the price. If I want to just bail on a trade, like, okay, just get me out, I would use a market. But you have slippage, especially in the live markets. You have a lot more slippage. So I don't use market orders very often, or at least I try and avoid using market orders. Do you have any idea how to find where institutions are getting into markets so you don't end up going against them? I love this question because, that's a hard one, right? Like, how do we know where the institutions are getting in and getting out? Well, there's many ways that people always say, what do they call it? Smart money, dumb money, like institutional, retail. Like, there's so many terms out there. There really is. Like, you can make a list of 1,000 different ways that people say they know how to find out institutions doing this, institutions doing that. For me personally, support and resistance, right? Who makes support and resistance? Buyers and sellers. There's more, for example, here's the NASDAQ. And if we analyze the NASDAQ on the 5-minute chart, let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about the NASDAQ on the 5-minute chart today during the New York session. And guess what? It was just that. We had a range during the New York session. This was the range, okay? We were range bound between 760, 730. So would it be fair that there were some institutions selling up here at 760s and there was some institutions buying down here at 720s? That's fair. And I'm sure if you pulled up an order book, you'd see a lot more sellers up here than buyers, and vice versa. You'd see a lot more buyers down here than sellers. And then when we broke down, when we sold off and broke down below this, there we go. And then we had very basic technical stuff. Support became resistance. And, here was the nice resistance zone. Well, guess what? Now maybe institutions have a high likelihood that they started selling here, right? And then we continued down, and sure enough, we sold down, right? Another common one is VWAP, right? You guys would probably hear VWAP, valuated, what is it? Valuated average price. So VWAP can be a very good indicator. Order flow, if I was to pick one, and if I could say, if there was one that is more important than all of the others, or I have to say two, okay? I would say technical analysis is a good one, but above technical analysis, I would say order flow. Like Rips is really amazing at reading order flow. Coach Jay is really great at reading order flow. So I would say that is probably your best bet at understanding where bigger buyers and sellers are entering and exiting the market, because you can see those orders come in and you can see it real time, right? And I'm not good at that. I love this very basic, simple, technical analysis, but I don't get to see those big orders coming in and out. And that's the reality of it. And so I would recommend that. If you really want to try and know where institutions are buying and selling, your best bet would be to understand the depth of market, order flow, and in that world, right? So Rips and Jay, I definitely recommend them in understanding it. They're a whole lot better than me. I will always remember, probably forever now, is one of the Tuesdays during fast markets, me, Rips, and MP was trading, and I was looking to buy the market, and the market was consolidating. And I remember this so vividly, because I just sit there and I replay the markets in my head over and over and over again, and I struggle to sleep because I think about the market so much. But I remember this so vividly. I got in long, and I was looking for the NASDAQ to break up, right? And I'm like, okay, from a technical standpoint, this looks bullish. The market's pushing up. It's pushing up. It's pushing up. And every time we started to tick up a little bit, I remember hearing rips in my ears. I'm like, sellers are coming in again, or they came in and they sold it. They sold it. And it was so interesting, because to me, from a visual standpoint and from a technical standpoint, I was seeing it. I'm like, okay, this is bullish. We're gonna break. We're gonna break. And yeah, nothing's promised. Anything can happen. Nothing works 100% of the time. And I was very confident that I was going to break up. But every time we started to look like we was going to break up, Rips could see from the order flow. And what is that indicator? The depth of the market, the DOM, the order flow, that the sellers was coming in and just selling it, right? And so there's something, and there's a really big advantage to it. And it doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing works 100% of the time. But there was something there. Bookmap. Thank you, Carl. And I would say that is probably the best way you could probably feel confident saying that there's bigger buyers or sellers that you can classify as maybe institutions coming in. And outside of saying, oh, there's a 1,000 lot order that is at this price, then yeah, of course, someone that came in and put like 1,000 lot on the ES, maybe you could say that's an institution, right? Or like this, look, I have the level 2 data here, and there is a order, or at least, there's bigger orders here to buy the NASDAQ at 20,705 and a quarter. You could maybe even say that, is that an institution? Well, it's kind of small to be an institution, but there's a bigger player coming in at 705. And you can't see that with technical analysis. So, yeah, there you go. Bookmap, map, depth of market, DOM, all that fun stuff. That was kind of a really drawn out, in-depth answer, but I think it's important. If I was to go and relearn everything over again, I would focus on that first. Hoop. If you missed it, good thing it's recorded. What's your favorite book on trading? Oh, guys, I get this a lot, and my favorite book, Anthony, is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. That's my favorite book, and I would say that has the best thing that's helped my trading. Have you traded natural gas? No, I have not traded natural gas. How many markets do you watch at one time during the New York market time? JM, I only like to watch NASDAQ, or the same markets you see me going over tonight. Usually it's NASDAQ, crude oil, and gold during the New York session, but 90% NASDAQ. NASDAQ is my main market that I trade, but I'll take a look at crude oil and gold to see if something's looking really tempting, but I will focus on them relatively evenly on my slow markets. You guys could see I focused on gold, I focused on crude oil, and I focused on the Nikkei because the markets are they're not moving a lot at night. What made me short the NASDAQ? Ooh, so guys, you see that I'm short the NASDAQ, and it's very simple and it's very straightforward. This is a 5-minute chart, and if you guys, I don't really want to repeat too much because this is recording, and if you did miss some of it, I strongly recommend maybe rewatching it. And part of what we're going to be doing is possibly me being able to get more clips, right? Because one of my favorite things I like to do is, who wants to watch a full hour of someone talking about the markets? I love to hear what your guys' opinions on this is. What's your thoughts? Here's the conversation. Here's the behind the scenes scoop of what my conversations are. Okay, is my slow markets class means a lot to me. Me helping you guys means a lot to me. That's what has brought me to Topstep, and that's what has kept me at Topstep, is because I have a beautiful platform to help traders at the best prop firm that there is for futures. And so those conversations is, when I was a kid and I was growing up, I really liked to watch Jim Cramer and Mad Money. And I liked that idea. And of course, I started to learn how to trade during this time because I had a day job. And like, I've told this story, it feels like many times, had a day job going to college, so I could only trade. And so my overall goal is to have a segment, a 1 hour, hour and a half class where I could teach traders and, from all walks of life, young, old, all around the world, how to become a better trader, how to become consistent, help them answer questions, and just help traders in general, but then do it to the level and the quality of Jim Cramer, and possibly even do it better, if I dare say do it better than Jim Cramer. And then I remember, and I see it on YouTube, where he does his 1 hour show, and then CNBC has little 2 to 3 minute clips. So I would love to have a class and then be able to get 2 to 3 minute clips out of this class. So that way, if traders do not want to sit there or they don't have the time to watch the full hour, then they could watch 2 or 3 minute classes, right? Because not all of you guys trade all these markets, and not everybody wants to watch the full hour, but it would be nice, right? Let me know. Like, would it be nice to say, hey, here's a 3 minute video of slow markets last night of gold analysis, or like, hey, here's a 3 minute video of slow markets last night NASDAQ analysis. Here's a 3 minute video of crude oil analysis. like maybe some YouTube shorts. I don't know, but I think there's some value there. And I'm curious, right? I love to have you in class, and I love to have, the number of people watching. But I think that would be a great idea, because I get a lot of messages saying, I wanted to watch your class. I didn't have time. I was at work. Whatever you have life going on, right? Different time zone. You're, around the world, whatever it is. But it's like, I don't have time to sit down and watch an hour class every single day if I missed it. But I would have that. So yeah, I'm curious. And there's Danielle. Let's get it done. So yeah, that's some of the conversation I've had behind the scenes. Now remember, not only does it take having a great class, it will take some effort on my end to make sure I know what would be a good video, what 2 minutes here, there, and try and get all that. And then as you guys can imagine, getting that video, editing it, making sure it looks nice, putting it out there. It's a lot more than just, say this, say that. So I love that. And Topstep, as you guys can see, Danielle's been amazing. It's like, how do we help the traders? And they're 100% for it. They've enabled me to be able to help and magnify slow markets to the greatest. I think what I'm going to do, guys, I think on this trade, I'm really tempted to just stick my stop loss at 712 and let this trade play out. Yeah, and that budget spreadsheet, Danielle, we're still on that works. You guys can remember. And this goes back to that question I got asked earlier, right? How do I take a payout? How do I build my express funded account and then take a payout to where I'm not too stressed out about not leaving enough money in my express funded account to blow it, right? And there is my budget sheet. If you guys were with me earlier, I've built kind of a spreadsheet on like, how do you take payouts? Like how do I take payouts? How am I thinking about taking payouts while keeping money in the account and not like running that risk? And of course, we want to make sure that we don't, cross any regulations, and make sure all the dot the T's, cross the I's or whatever, and make sure it's good, because this isn't financial advice and we're not going to be recommending anything. And I'm just making sure everything's kosher before giving stuff like that. But that is also something that is coming. There's so much that I want to do. There's so much. There's always going to be more and more benefits for you guys if you guys are willing to learn and stick with it, because trading is not easy. It really isn't. If I froze, just refresh. Do I pay attention to Asian markets during slow market? The news. Do I pay attention to the news? And the answer is yes, I do. For example, today is Tuesday. We do have the New Zealand official cash rate. If there's something I feel like it's really big, I will mention it. I haven't really mentioned news too much. It doesn't affect a lot, but yeah, major news events. For example, Thursday we have the CPI. The US CPI is huge, so that's important. Today we had Fed chat, or tomorrow we have Fed Chair Powell testifies again after he testified today. Will that move the markets? Maybe, maybe not. I'm just looking for more consolidation. If it's a big news event that could move the markets, yeah, I will definitely look at that. Last all, I think that's it, guys. It was a great, like I said, I love this performance. I'm gonna talk about this every single night just because I love it so much. And this as a coach and as a trader, this is just, I don't know. I have nothing negative that we could really say about this other than I need to. Oh, look here. Let's read this. You've made 24 trades over 2 days. Keep monitoring your trade frequency to ensure you're not over trading. Wow. Look, is that not beautiful? Coach Jay, like, how could you not appreciate this? Like, Coach T, seeing that I made 24 trades over the past two days, and he's concerned, or it is concerned that I might be over trading. Like, that is awesome. And I think it takes this 24 lots, but it didn't. And maybe there's always going to be something interesting, and there's some testing that I'm sure I'm going to be doing and the team's going to be doing, is because even though this was like 3 trades, I scaled into it. Like, for example, last night, even though I got into 3 contracts, I got into one and then another and then another. And I think it counted it as 3 trades rather than just 1. So if you're scaling in and scaling out, it most likely will show more trades than what was there. So that's something just to take with a grain of salt, because I did not take 24 trades. I took like 3 trades, 4 trades, but I had bigger lot sizes and I scaled into it. But I think the software and the math behind it took into consideration that every individual entry or execution was looked at as a different trade. But yeah, Coach Jay, these performance stats are definitely a game changer. Let me see this. I'm going to do this just for the sake of it, guys. I am going to go here, and this is, let's just do this. I'm going to just see if I can get out of this one. There we go. Bam. Filled. Okay. And then let's take a look at the statistics. The counter went up 25 trades over 2 days. Bam. Average losing trade. And there we go. Instantly. Down $100 today. Wow. I just, and if you click on it, okay. Yeah, this is another thing that I forgot. This shows the trades. Okay. There's my NASDAQ, and it shows my P&L for the day. Oh, man. How is this not? This is just so amazing. I'm so excited about this. I don't even, I can't express how excited this makes me. I nerd out over this kind of stuff, over these performance. So minus 110, but remember, times it by 5, so minus like 500 or whatever. So yeah, I nerd out over this stuff all the time. Yeah. I think I'm going to end it at that. I mean, I'm going to continue to watch this. Maybe we do a segment. What would your guys' thoughts about this? Would you guys, I need to check this with Danielle and the team. What if I get somebody to like send me theirs? Because you could share this. And I think this is awesome. If I have somebody, like one of you guys, somebody during my class shares me this of their own trading, and we could pull it up live stream, and I could talk about that, and I could try and be a coach for slow markets. What is your thoughts on that one? I think that would be cool, because now you guys could just send me and share with me your statistics here on Discord, and I could just pull it up and say, okay, let's talk about this. Let's answer some questions, and we could go over this really in depth, and maybe we could do this like every Thursday or something. I don't know. My own shoulder tap. Well, it's not really shoulder tap. It's going to be more of like a group coaching, because it can't be one-on-one coaching. We're staying away from the one-on-one coaching, but it's going to be more of a group coaching, right? We could pull up someone's statistics, and we could just talk about, how does this win rate? How does this affect your trading? How does this? And it's a group session, right? And we could ask questions. We could answer questions. We could go through like, how am I looking at this? What am I looking? But this opens up the possibilities for things like that. It's going to be different. It's definitely different than the risk management. It's going to be more of a group coaching. I could see this being done a lot during the VIP. Like the VIP, this is going to be very, very useful. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's it, guys. I'm gonna end it there. Great stuff. We'll see if this trade works out. Remember, let's see how this trade would have played out. But all right, guys, I'm done. I am gonna go get some dinner, and I will see you tomorrow during Power Hour. Guess who's going to be joining me tomorrow during Power Hour? Just guess. I'm excited. I'm really excited to have him on with me for Power Hour. Let me make sure I don't misspeak. No. Oh, we got someone good that's I believe is going to be joining me. Let's see. Tomorrow's already the 10th. David Green. Yeah, exactly. David Green is going to be joining me for Power Hour. I'm excited. Yes, Danielle. David Green. We'll see how it is. We'll have some great conversations. Who knows? Maybe that's going to be a session by itself. Me and David hanging out and talking technical analysis. I could see some really good in-depth talk with David Green from the technical analysis side. He seems like a very interesting character to talk to. I don't want to say on the older side, but compared to me, yes, he would be older. And definitely an interesting perspective. So I'm excited for that. So if you want, join me tomorrow. I'll see you then. And if not, tomorrow night. See you guys. Bye.